friends. Welcome to my podcast. So, today we're going to be talking about healing trauma for us to manifest and become the best manifestors in this kingdom. Yes, I said it. So, get comfortable, get ready for just an open eye for all of us here because this is something that I learned and things that have happened that have made me realize where I was messing myself up. Yeah, let's get there. So, I want to start off by saying you're going to heal as you're listening to this. Yes, you are. The fact that you hit the play button, that only tells me that you're ready to be vulnerable and open to receive for all these things that you have potentially told yourself that you're not willing to receive, okay? So I want to start off by saying that the way that people talk about manifesting now is unbearable. I feel like nobody gets to do it until you freaking go through the process. So I want to start talking about how I went ahead and there's so many things that I want to manifest in my life right now. And one of them is money. So I realized that I had a possessive instinct with money at a very young age. And I realized why I struggled to think that I needed to work 10 times harder, or I struggled to think that I'm good enough, or blah, blah, blah. Well, it all stems off of childhood. It's going to be trauma that we all experience in our mind, our heart, our body. We bottle up majority of our issues inside of ourselves, y'all. And I hope that you take this with a grain of salt, because I realized where I was storing a bunch of my trauma in me because I thought I was not good enough, or maybe I didn't get the good. You're doing a good job. Let me take a drink out of my water. Sorry, y'all. And a big part of it was I often doubted myself. So what we've built in our subconscious mind as we were younger, we were built at a very young age from our mother's womb. So whatever our mother was going through at that time when we were being processed, and I mean cooking in the oven, it will generate generational trauma. Yeah. So it gets passed on to you. So if mama doesn't heal it, it goes to the next person. And I say it comes from our moms because not only does our father, make us as well with the DNA, but what we end up maturing to be is because we saw what we saw growing up. Okay. So a little background, a story of mine. My dad worked a lot. My mom was a stay-at-home wife, and she often was missing. I cannot remember half of the time that she was ever home, but she was a stay-at-home mom. I don't know where she was, y'all. I really don't. And I'm not saying that I'm calling my mom out now as a younger mom as well. I mean, I say I'm young because I'm 34 and I have 3 beautiful babies, but I strongly believe that made me build myself to think that I was a mom already, because I was always with my brother. I was the oldest of 3 siblings. So I really wasn't nurtured. I really was pretty much the caretaker at a very young age. I was accustomed to think that I could do it all. So I wasn't taught morals. I wasn't taught anything. I was just taught that I have to work really hard for what I need and should survive off of. Yeah, I saw my mom work 3 jobs. I was always taking care of my siblings. I was the oldest of 3. Mind you, at that point, I was starting to feel like, okay, then I got to do what she does. Yeah, and it's crazy because now that I think about it, I have deprogrammed my mind because of what I saw. So I want to go forward into this because just giving you a background of my story will probably open the picture. And I don't want to get boring on this podcast over something that already happened. But what I want you to understand is that manifesting comes within, right? And a part of me that I learned through this process was, 1, I'm a tarot reader, and I also work a 7 to 4 p.m. job at a corporate job. And yes, I'm still doing both. But for now, I'm doing both of these because I'm learning to manage better boundaries with myself and where I can excel. I do feel that one job stresses me out more than the other, but it all comes off of how I see things, and how I feel. So I started setting healthy boundaries, and I want to talk about a moment where all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to shift my mindset. I'm going to start doing this, affirmations, and what's worked for me may not work for you. Okay. But I strongly feel like we are our own pain, we are our own issue. Gosh, I'm getting really thirsty. I guess I'm as I'm telling you guys, as I'm healing it as well with y'all. So a lot of these things I've noticed when I was trying to do my channel, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to do that, I really just didn't feel good about myself. That person that I saw in the mirror, I just wasn't happy with her. I couldn't figure out why, but then I learned why. So I often would think that I was needing to see the outcome before anything. So say I wanted a significant amount of money, right? And I would tell myself like, well, I have to do this and that to get it, right? So I have to clean, I have to be the part, I have to show up, which yes, you do, but there's so much to it though, y'all. So one day I decided to tell the channel that I wanted to do 50% off readings, for the collective. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm not even thinking anything of it. I just want to get rid of the readings on Etsy. And I just want to get rid of them, right? As fast as I can. I just want to get rid of them. I don't know why. I just got into this motive, like, I just want to get rid of them. Mind you, I didn't think anything of it. My house is probably a mess 50% of the time because, again, I have 3 babies. And I call them babies. I have my 11-year-old, 5-year-old, and my 7-month-old. Now I'm a single mom. And I live in my own home. I pay my own bills. Yes, and it's a lot. So I realized, like, you know what? I'm still going to do the part. I'm going to wake up early. I'm still going to do, my morning routine, get up, do the thing. But a lot of these times I was always tired because I was so overwhelmed with the whole, having to wake up, get the kids ready for school. And you know what? At the end of the day, I was like, I have to do this no matter what. I can't just run away from it. But how can I change the way that I feel? Some of these mornings were heavy on me. I was just like, I can't do it anymore. What the fuck can I change by me waking up, brushing my teeth first? Or what can I do? And I was like, you know what? It's in my mother flipping head. And this is where I started to change the process. I started to realize that I need to be empathetic to myself and genuinely open-hearted to myself and love myself. And believing that even though I can't get 10 million things done, I'm still going to receive what I am capable of receiving because I know I'm deserving of it without having to work hard, having to cry to God, or having to do this and that and knick-knack and say, why don't I got this, blah, blah, blah. Because when we sit in this despair of energy, we tend to we reap what we sow, y'all. You reap what you sow. And it's true. If we're going to be in this energy of like, why this, why that, well, guess what? You're not going to understand why the F you're thinking about this so much. What you can't change is your thoughts. So this is where I want to talk about subconscious reprogramming, because I started to realize like, okay, what can I do to change the way that I feel, the way that I think? I started saying affirmations. I started saying affirmations every morning. I am abundant. I am rich. I am a millionaire. I'm a successful. I'm a rich person. Everybody wants to talk to me. I am enough. I do belong. I do not chase. I attract what's meant for me will simply find me. I started doing all kinds of affirmations. There's abundance is my birthright, and I started feeling it. And I would start to see it as well in the mirror as I'm saying these things, right? So every day just got better and better and better. So mind you, after this, I was like, okay, so how can I put it into perspective in myself? I started showing up every day. Half of the rooms were off the charts, and I'm saying I don't have the perfect home, but I try to maintain what I can with the best possible care that I can. But I remind myself that I can only do so much. So this is where the power of surrendering comes in, right? Because you have to let go of how you're going to get it and how you should think you should get it. Mind you, now I want to talk about how you start to see the evidence as stuff starts to show up. Good news starts to show up. Maybe a check that you weren't expecting to receive in the mail, or you get gifted something, or somebody opens a door for you as you're walking into the coffee shop, or someone starts asking about your day, or somebody starts gifting you things, right? Or you just get the randomest thing given to you. It just comes tenfold. And I want you to see how you allow these things to show up for yourself. And I want you to feel them as you're receiving them, because this is where we mess it up. We start to think like, oh my God, I got it. It's my first time. I manifested this, blah, blah, blah. I knew it worked. Okay, but this is where we end up messing up because of our trauma, our scars, our wounds, because we start to go back to what made us feel safe, or at least we think we feel safe because that's what we know. Okay? So as soon as you get these things and receiving, don't just go back to the way that you felt. I want you to feel that, because that's what's going to get you to your next period thing. So I say period because this is the next chapter, right? You get one, you go to the next, and it just keeps growing. So you have to maintain that energy. You have to maintain that trust. You have to maintain that energy flow. Remember, we're reprogramming our brain. So we're healing trauma. We're healing the way that we feel. So we have to make sure that we are receiving, and we're also open to receive, right? Because sometimes when we get the first thing, our first manifestation, we get so fucking excited. And sorry, exclude my cousin, my French, but we get so excited and we forget why we even did it in the first place. And that's where we also fall back into the pattern of like, oh my God, I can't do it again. And then you forget why you even wanted to do this to begin with, right? So you're gonna have to get uncomfortable and really dig deep. A lot of us have different traumas and responses, how we counteract. So I started to realize after I started getting all these customers, I was realizing like, okay, I'm tired. I'm really tired. Like, I didn't think it was gonna cause this much work. And this is where I realized like, wow, it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to manage better timing, right? So I needed to go through that in order for me to realize like where I was stagnating myself in each session, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm doing too much. I'm rushing to get this done. Like, why do I have to fucking rush? And again, excuse my French. And that was because that's my trauma response from when I was younger, because I always feel like I have to rush to get to where I need to go, because that's just what I saw. My mom was never around, y'all. She never was. And mind you, now I'm starting to think, this is why I am the way that I am. And I want to tell you guys that you're here to break the generational trauma, the generational causes and effects and cycles. We are what we think, we are what we feel. And I want to start by saying off, there is a way, but you have to start to reflect on where you're going in circles. And you keep going back to that because that's what you think is given to you. So I want you to think about a time when you manifested something. And when was the last time you did manifest something? When has it been? Remember that things are going to come out of nowhere. And that's power of manifestation, because you may not expect it to come a certain way, but then again, it might come to you 2 times way ahead. How can I say this? Let me go back. It might not come at that time that you want it to come, but let's say 3 times after the manifestation you originally did comes after that. So everything's divine timing. You have to stay afloat. And by staying afloat is that you're going to be consistent. You're going to set boundaries with your mind, allowing your mind to say what it needs to say, but reflecting and realizing that you can say something positive. Obviously, our mind is never going to shut off. It's going to continue to talk when it wants, but you have the power to control how you feel about every single thought and how you allow the abundance to start to come in. Again, manifesting money is the most simplest thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to manifest a ton load after you hear this, because after I realized I was the issue, I realized like where I was getting in my own way. And I don't want you to be in your own way. I want you to write 10 things down as of today, as you listen to this podcast. And I want you to write them down, and I want you to pin them somewhere where you wake up, or maybe on your phone, wherever. And I want you to come back maybe 3 months. I'm going to give you 3 months and tell me, and come back and tell me that you manifested 10 of these things and they came to you like you wouldn't have imagined, because this is the power of transformation in your trauma. And you're going to start to manifest so fast that you're now going to become the best version of yourself. And this is where you're going to question a lot of the things, and you're going to want to live life now. You're going to want to help others. You're going to teach others. And this is where I come in, because I wanted to teach you guys this trick, because this, again, is free. I'm not selling you a platform, but this is what's gotten me to be financially free from the strict things that I thought I could not do. So now I can take my kids to fancy restaurants. I get my nails done. I can go to a Starbucks without having to think about it, because before I would get in my own way and I would tell myself I could not get that. I was like, why am I so controlled by the fact that my money? No, I'm going to control my money. I love my money. My money loves me. It takes care of me. It's going to do the things that it does. It pays my bills. I can live here and I am supported by it, and it loves me back. And because I love it back, it's coming back tenfold. And this is the power of manifestation with money and healing that trauma with money. I should have named it trauma with money, but it's okay, guys. It doesn't even matter, because this is going to teach you how to manifest regardless of what object or thing that you want. But you're going to have to feel it within self, right? So I hope this reached out to you today. Again, I want to give you a huge thank and a huge hug. Remind yourself that you are deserving of everything. Your abundance is your birthright. You deserve to be wherever you need to be. And it starts with you. Anyways, this is it for today, you guys, and I'll see you.